Okay, hi everyone. I'm just going to quickly show you the board because there's a fair bit on the board, and then we're going to get started with the lesson. So here's the board for you. Oh, having trouble getting that last bit of the board in. There we go. So that's the board. So hopefully you can pause that and get the notes down. Okay, let's begin. I know there's a bit of light on the board, which is a bit annoying. Nope, that doesn't help, but maybe it does. Okay, so we're going to continue on with exercise 8C, and we're going to be looking at depreciation. So in the last part of the lesson, we focused on investments and loans. For this section, we're going to focus on depreciation. So over time, the value of large machines that get used in business. So if you're thinking about school, for example, some of our large machines include the photocopier, the computers, the desktop computers, things like that. In your own home, things that depreciate in value are something like your car. Even some of the big plasma TVs, they would depreciate in value over time. So basically depreciation means they lose value. So each year they're losing value, and this is called depreciation. Now, if you own a business, it's really important that you are able to estimate how much depreciation is going to occur on an asset. I don't want to buy a photocopier and spend $30,000 buying a really fancy photocopier to find out that next year it's worth $10. That's not good value for money. So I need to be able to project what the future value of the machine or the asset, because when you own a machine, it's called an asset to the business. So I want to be able to work out what the future value of that asset is. And I use that when it comes to tax time. Okay, so future value is one of the terms that we need to know. And that's just being able to estimate what the value of an asset is, next year, the year after that. All right. The other terminology that we need to get our head around is scrap value. So if you can imagine, over time, you've got, say, the photocopier, and it's losing value. Each year, it's going down in value. And it's going to reach a certain point where it's not worth very much. And we call this value, its scrap value. When it gets to scrap value, this is usually when the item is sold off or it's thrown away. It's disposed of. And for tax purposes, we would say that the item is written off. Okay? So scrap value is literally when the metal in the machine is, if you take the machine apart and you sell the metal, that's what the value of the machine has come down to. It's come down to its scrap value. And it's at that point that we write the asset off. All right. Now, this is really important because we use depreciation in value of equipment to calculate tax refunds. And there are a number of ways of doing this, but we're going to focus on two of them. We're going to look at flat rate depreciation and unit cost depreciation. So I'm going to take you through an example of flat rate depreciation. So just like what we showed you in the last set of videos, Vn plus 1 equals Vo minus D. This is the recurrence relation we're going to be using. And the example we're going to look at is a new car that's purchased for $24,000 in 2014. The car depreciates by 20% of its purchase price each year. And we're going to model the depreciation value of the car using a recurrence relationship. So you know the first thing we need for a recurrence relationship is VO. So VO is the purchase price. So VO is $24,000. We need to work out D. Now D is equal to the rate, so that's 20 divided by 100 multiplied by the 24,000. And that gives us a value of 4,800. So this means that the car loses $4,800 each year. Alright, so as a recurrence relation, we write this as VO equals 24,000, comma, VN plus 1 equals VN minus 4,800. Okay, so we've got our recurrence relation written there. So what's the value of the car after 2 years? This is how we set it out. So VO, which is the initial value of the car, is 24,000. At the end of the first year, so we represent this with V1, is the VO value, the initial value, minus the 4,800. So the car will be worth 19,200. At the end of the second year, we're going to have the end of the first year value, so the V1, minus 4,800. So at the end of the second year, the car is going to be worth 14,400. So again, that's our working out. We have to state it as a sentence. So to answer this question, I would say after 2 years, the car will be worth $14,400. Can you now please go on and work out how many years it will take for the car to be worth $0? I'll end it there and I'll do unit depreciation in the next video. Thanks.